Hey everyone, welcome back to Double Sleeve. Today we're going to be covering my third place deck profile for Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. I took this deck to Grimdark's 1K event last weekend where I came third. So shout out to Brendan and Emily for putting on such a great event. But let's jump into the deck. Starting off, we have the leader. So Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 have a permanent of we can't use non-red ribbon army cards to place non-red ribbon card skills to place cards in our energy. Auto, when we attack, draw 1. Our awakens when our life is at 4 or less, or we have a unison specified cost of 2. We get to draw 1, switch one of our energy to active mode, and then take life down to 6. Same permanent on the awaken side, and now we've got an auto. When a blue card is played from our energy, we place the top card of the deck in our energy in rest mode. So we're not ramping any cards, but we are able to replace the energy since a lot of our cards get played from the energy. And then auto, we get to add 3 blue android cards from our energy to our hand. And then at the end of the turn, we draw 1, and then we get to add up to 3 blue android cards from our hand to our energy. And then we are locked into android skills, 7 or less for the rest of the turn and our opponent's turn. So we do run a lot of androids, so it's not too big of a threat since all of our battle cards, except for our secret rare, are androids. But it's good to be able to get 3 energy back without having to untap. Moving on to the battle cards, we've got Android 13 and Android 14 and 15. So both of these we use to search out our unisons mainly. Android 13, when it gets played, it's for 1 energy. We get to look at the top 5, add a blue red ribbon energy cost of 3 or less or 2 cost unison. And then 14 and 15, we've got the activate main. So we pitch this from hand and we get to look at the top 5 for, I believe it's a blue red ribbon energy cost 5 or less. So Android 13 is 3 or less, 14, 15 is 5 or less, or the Android 17, 18 teaming up unison. So it just makes the deck a bit more consistent. Next we've got 3 copies of Android 18 and 4 copies of Android 17. Both of these cards have an activate main, limit 1 for 1 blue energy. So we get to play this card, or we may play this card from our energy. So if our opponent decides to try and counter in counter window 1, we can just choose not to play it. 18 has critical and 17 has barrier. And then they both have an auto. So when we play this card, we get to look at the top 5 cards of the deck, add up to 1 blue android card among them to our energy in rest mode, and then we place 1 card from our energy at the bottom of the deck and shuffle. So the sequencing is we want to play this card from our energy, use our leader to replace the card, and then that way if it's not an android card, we get to search the top 5 and take out that non-android card, which allows us to add the 3 back if we do hit something that we don't want there. I mainly played 18 over the 17 because it does have barrier, so our opponent can't really interact with it as easy as the 18, but the critical is good too. Next we've got our floodgate, Android 14. So it's a counter attack, you negate the attack and pitch a card from hand, and then the order on play is if it's our opponent's turn, when this card is played, our opponent can't attack for the turn unless they bottom deck 2 cards. So a lot of cards do hit this card before it enters play, but if we are able to get onto the field, generally it just stops our opponent's turn, but you just need to be mindful of counter plays and things like that. Our own counterplays for the deck, we've got Android 15 and then Android 18. Android 15 is deflect counterplay. If the battle card being played is 3 or less, it's sent back to our opponent's hand. We've got a permanent of we can use this card's counter skill from our energy by paying its energy cost. So it's a nice one to kind of get in your energy and we can leave it there. And then we've got a permanent bond 3. If we have blue androids, 3 blue androids, including itself, this card gets plus 10,000 power, so we can swing with it as well. MVP for the deck was definitely this Android 18. So it's a 4 cost blocker with a counterplay. If the battle card being played is 4 or less, it is placed at the bottom of the owner's deck instead of being played. So we were able to hit a lot of floodgates and things like that with this card. And then the permanent is if our leader is an android or a heroine card, and we have a unison in play with a specified cost of 2 or more, then the energy cost is reduced in hand by 3, so it becomes a 1 cost. There was definitely a couple of situations where I didn't have enough androids in hand to kind of pick this up and replace it with another, so it did kind of get stuck in my energy, especially against my top cut game against Trunks Jeter. But the card was definitely MVP, and I would like to run this at 4. Next we've got our blue-green Android 17 and 18. This card is really good because we can negate the energy exhaust with the card's permanent if our leader's a blue red ribbon army card, which it is. So we can charge this turn 1 and have access to our blue-green energy. And this is also deflect, dual attack 20k. When it gets played, we get to choose one of our opponent's battle cards, energy cost greater than their current energy or equal, place it at the bottom of the deck, and we can play it for a blue-green energy, and then play it from our hand or energy as well. 4 copies of Cell. This one, again, yeah, you know, if Android 18 Let the Battle Begin was an MVP, then it was definitely this card. It really closes out a lot of games. When it gets played from our energy, we get to choose all of our opponent's battle cards, place them at the bottom of the deck. It's 30k deflect dual attack. We play it for 4 energy, so it has to be 1 blue, 1 green, and then just 2 generic energy. So we do need 17 and 18 for that green energy. And when it gets played from hand or energy, it gains double strike for the turn. And if our opponent activates counterattack when this card's in battle, they have to bottom deck a card too. Super combo, I ran 4 Android 8. Pretty standard when your life's at 4 or less, draw 1. But it was searchable with a lot of the cards in the deck, like the 14, 15, and the, I believe it's 13. So I preferred this over the blue-green multicolor. 1 Turning the Tide, just to close out games, game 1, or if our opponent didn't side Enduring, if they weren't siding anything, then able to close out games if they just don't have an answer to it. And we can always put it in our energy to pick up when we need. Unisons, 4 copies of 17, 18, 1 copy of Hit. I did have a bit of trouble when I was just running 4 Unisons to find them. That's when I upped the searches and an extra copy of the Hit. This card is just too good not to run 4 copies of. It's a 2 cost 15k. When a player attacks, we add a marker and we get to combo with a 5k from the drop area with its skills negated for the turn. 2 blue energy, we can play it from our energy if we need to, and then the -4, this card gets 10,000 power and dual attack for the turn. So we add markers really easy, and then we can put a lot of pressure on our opponent. And then Hit, if we just happen to see it and not see the 17 and 18, then we've got the +1 to draw, or the activate main to flip our opponent's awakened leader. Some of the extra cards for the deck, 3 Beerus Destroys. Really good to remove Dark Power and Marseille, which a lot of people did side in against me. So it was always handy to have this card to remove it, or any bigger threats as well. We're a blue deck with a lot of dual attackers, so Sensu Bean, always just to get the energy back to extend turns, and then some negates. So 3 copies of Dimension Magic, just to get that energy back. It's one blue's best negates, and then the token negates as well. And then for the secret rare, Hatch, just to end our opponent's turn. It's the best secret rare at the moment, so had to run it. And then moving on to the side deck, we've got just our tokens for the negates. 2 Dabura for hand destruction, 3 Dende for other blue decks or mirror match or anything like that. Anything where our opponent was playing from energy. We get 3 energy back at the end of the turn, so it didn't feel too bad to play this. Same as Kami for Trunks Jeter or anything that goes really low to the ground and wide. And then Dirty Burst for things like U7, the Sour Ultimate deck. Yeah, anything that is playing kind of big boss monsters to try and close out the game. And then the last few cards for the sideboard. Shout out to Jared Lopez from US for kind of helping me with this deck. He took it to Gen Con, I believe, and did quite well, and we were able to speak about the deck before our event. So we've got 2 copies of Results of Research, 2 Perfect Force Cell, and 2 Son Goku Protector of the Earth. These cards kind of came in most of my matchups against anything that went really long, because I was able to bounce back my opponent's board, ignoring barrier to their hand, and then the following turn, tap 6, send this card from the drop area to the warp, and play Perfect Force from hand, and make them pitch their whole hand until they had 3 cards, and from that point the game was pretty much over. But that's the deck, that's the sideboard. It was a great event. Again, shout out to Brandon and Emily for putting it on, for letting us come out and play. I'll quickly show off the top cut mat that was given out to the top 8. But yeah, a great deck, a great weekend. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you at the next one.